What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest, her experience spans 3 decades of professional qualification, including psychology, ILS coaching, pranic psychotherapy, and yoga teaching. She's also a self-leadership practitioner who helps women consciously create the life they desire through intentionality, balancing mindset with heart set, and taking complete authority over themselves. And she is also a podcast host of the Unapologetic Woman. Please welcome Elle Nagy. Elle, welcome to the show.
Whoop, whoop. So excited to be here, my friend. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, yes. I mean, we've connected quite a few times here lately. It's been wonderful. Yeah. It's going to be hard to keep the conversation within my 25 minute mark, but we'll do the best that we can.
Let's do that. Let's do 20 minutes.
So yeah, I think that's going to be impossible. But first, share with everybody where you're joining us from.
I'm calling in from New Zealand today, where it's very overcast. Winter is upon us, but life is good.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining us all the way from the other side of the world. I absolutely love that about today's world with the technology and podcasting, being able to connect with others from all over. It's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And it's your tomorrow. I am one day ahead of you.
So it's Tuesday for you.
This is Tuesday, baby. Yeah. Life is looking good tomorrow. Life is always in the future.
Okay. Thank you for that update. All right. With that being said, let's jump into a little bit about what you do. So I really gravitated towards you because I love your mission about the unapologetic woman. So let's talk about kind of your previous experience of being a psychologist, into psychotherapy, and what brought you to where you are today.
Wow, that is quite a long journey. So let's rewind back into, I've always loved people. I'm one of those, even as a child, I was fascinated by people. I believe that there is greatness within every single person and that we get to experience that in the moments that we recognize the greatness within them. So when I went to study psychology, I was under the informed la la land thing of, psychology is about the celebration of how magnificent human beings are. How did you discover? No. Psychology is about putting people into boxes of what is wrong with us as human beings and how we can then so-called be fixed to be normal. Normal, meaning that we belong to the status quo, meaning that we are predictable. And when we are predictable, other people think that they can feel safe around us.
Yeah.
Well, life decided that it was time for me to upgrade through lesson, and I went down the rabbit hole of suicidal depression. And from that state, after going to therapy, after being put on medication, I just knew this wasn't working for me. Yeah. I needed another way. And I remember sitting in my car after a therapy session and going, God, universe, I can't go through this anymore. I cannot do one more session. You have to show me another way.
Yeah.
And as I was driving home, I saw a kickboxing dojo. Now, here's the interesting thing. I've lived there for years, never seen the dojo, and it's been there longer than what I had lived there.
Wow.
But on impulse, I pulled in and signed up. And a couple of weeks later, I was off medication. I never went back to therapy, and I was out of depression. And so I knew there had to be other things that is available to us. And clearly depression is not being understood. Right. Because if I could shift so quickly out of decision and movements, where therapy kept me stuck, what else do I not know? Yeah. Anyways, long story short, the universe took me and on a route of becoming a coach, inner life skills coach. I went into energetic healing, and I have been practicing that for 2 decades, being a coach and knowing how all of these things work, whilst at the same time staying curious and wanting to understand more. Hence, I wanted to bring in the physical part, and I became a personal trainer, became an Ironman athlete, became a yoga teacher, because I wanted to see how it all fits together.
Sure.
Fast forward, I got to a stage of going, coaching is not working anymore. It's not resonating with me anymore. More and more women that I'm speaking to are tired of goal setting. We're tired of hustle and the grind and the push and the challenge. Universe, it's time for an upgrade. What's going on? And that's when I came to the understanding it's time for self-leadership, more specifically the feminine art of self-leadership, to be born into this world. And I believe that I happen to be one of the vessels for it, where we as women stop being so in our masculine, stop being high achievers, and we start being incredible, intentional, powerful creators, working on a different rhythm, working on a different methodology, working in harmony with ourselves, rather than us continuously being in the achievement mode, which is why so many high-achieving women burn out.
Oh, yeah.
It's not our natural state. And it's also not, which is our most potent state. So imagine if we as high-achieving women achieved all the epic shit that we did, going against ourselves. What are we capable of when we start working with ourselves?
Yeah.
Hence, the Unapologetic Woman was born.
I love it. That's beautiful. So let's go back a little bit. I feel like I love talking to people I have previous experience being in psychology or practicing the psychotherapy or whatever, because in that practice, it is very common to label people with different things. And so for you to have gone through all that, now to be on Label Free podcast and saying that, you are supposed to do, you're clinically depressed or this, that, the other thing. And I mean, so how do you feel about that when I put it in that context?
The question that I started asking myself is, who would I be without a label? Without any label. So every time that I catch myself with a label, I go, who would I be without this label? And it's interesting how suicidal depression, when we say I have suicidal depression or I am depressed, which is how we are taught to say it, we create it as our identity and we are true to our identities. And I don't think people understand how powerful we really are. Whatever we believe, we become. Whenever we say, I am mad, I am sad, I am depressed, I am, we create that as a self-identity and we become that. We become the vibration, which is why people get stuck on it.
Yeah.
I feel depressed.
Yeah, that's different.
Oh, why do I feel depressed?
Yeah.
Now we start recognizing that it is just a feeling. Now, the people are going to say, yes, but Elle, there is evidence that shows that this is, biological and the hormones. And yes, people, don't you understand that that is how we work? Yeah. When we feel something because we believe something, we become it. Yeah. And we are so strong that our bodies have to respond. Yeah. Our bodies are simply obeying the commands that we are giving it through our beliefs.
Yeah.
And so that's why all the people say we have the evidence that proves, yes, but don't you understand the process of creation? Mm-hmm. Because until you understand the process of creation, you will always go and find evidence for your beliefs. Whatever your beliefs are, which is why we are continuously seeing people coming forth with new evidence that say, no, I have new evidence that contradicts. Yes, because you have a new belief. Yeah. And you will always find the evidence for what you believe. Yeah. So when we start delving into labels, oh, I have imposter syndrome. Label, who would you be without that? Yeah. Oh, I am a high achiever. Label, who would you be without that? I am the CEO of a company. Label, who would you be without that? And what's really interesting is that when you ask people to introduce themselves without their labels,
it's very hard.
They like, especially at the moment, I'm seeing this in the female entrepreneurial space. We have become so obsessed with our professional labels that when we kind of go, oh, don't introduce yourself in terms of what you do, they go,
Yeah.
it's a really interesting thing. And it's one of the reasons why I changed to self-leadership practitioner,
Okay.
because it wasn't a label that existed. And so people don't know what to make of me.
Yeah.
Which means now they have to have a conversation with me.
Yeah. I love that though.
Through the conversation that we start getting creative in our thought process again. So whatever label, and I understand this, like all the experts come and they so good-heartedly produce another label, and people go, oh,
Yeah, right.
oh, I'm not crazy. There's a label for what I am.
Yeah.
See how the world is changing to form around the labels. 10 years ago, narcissism did not exist. The word narcissist did not exist. You were being a dick.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Everybody knows a narcissist.
Yeah. There are certain behaviors of those type of men that are very consistent though. And women. Don't get me wrong. It's men and women too. They're just very selfish, self-involved. They don't care about you. And if it doesn't serve them, they're just gonna fuck with you until they're done.
Exactly. But they're just being a dick. So, you know, let's go back to the old school. We had only a couple of labels that we could use 20 years ago. Life was really simple then. And so instead of everybody obsessing about dicks, it would just be, oh, he's just being a dick. We'll just leave him alone and go and live our own life. But people have become obsessed with labels. They have become entrenched in labels. And we are creating a labeled society, which is hysterical when all the new labels are coming out and going, we don't want to live by your old labels. We want new labels because that means we're free.
Right. Isn't
sunshine. You've just created yourself a new prison and you can see it by your suffering.
Yeah.
And yes.
I think, I see exactly what you're saying. And I feel like that's why the name of my show and the message of my show resonates with so many people, because they're feeling that way too. And they're tired of it. They're tired of the labels. They're tired of having to live in this box and being expected to be X, Y, and Z. So I feel like it's very liberating for people to be like, I can just be, I can just be, instead of like thinking that I have to be the CEO, I have to be the mother, I can just be. And I think that's a beautiful thing, but I agree with you. I love that you kind of helped yourself through your suicidal depression, getting involved in physical fitness. Because I'm a big believer. I know that there's people out there that definitely need some help and rebalancing with chemicals and stuff like that. But I have experienced depression and I've had some suicidal thoughts, it's been a long time, but I went and took myself to the gym. I took out all my frustration, all that energy. I took it out in the gym. That was my therapy. And that's where I found solace and I found my happiness and I found my grounding. And so I'm a big believer in that for people. So I love that you did that. And so someone that has your kind of background, when you talk to other people that may be going through some kind of negative thoughts like that, and you talk about that, what is their response?
It depends on where they're at and what their intention is. So if somebody is in a bad space, but their intention is genuinely, I want to shift out of the space, they receive it openly. If somebody is in a bad space and their intention is to stay in a bad space, and there's no judgment against this, you do you for as long as you need to, right? And this sounds really strange to people, but the fact of the matter is misery loves company, and society doesn't really like genuinely happy people right now because majority of society is not happy. So it is serving people to be unhappy. It is serving people to struggle. And again, I'm saying this with so much compassion, you guys, because when you're in it, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But there is a payoff at the moment for having a label. In the attention that you get a get out of jail free card with a lot of self-responsibility. There are many benefits right now to not being in a good space.
Mm.
And so if people are still unconsciously wanting to stay there, then it's a really negative, "I'll screw you." And I get that.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was there and I didn't want to get out, I would have said, "Screw you too."
Yeah.
And so I don't share my message with a lot of people. I share it with people who are ready to receive it and who actually want to receive it.
Yeah.
And that was my kitten.
Welcome, kitty.
Oh my God, he's all over the show.
We love pets here.
Pets, we love pets. I used to try and be so professional and put together and pretend as though life is not happening around me. But I have a dog and I have a kitten, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful, and they get to be around my space. So
I love it.
but so we get to respect that. And I think that's one of the things that most people are still doing is they want to help people to get better. And the fact of the matter is, once you've decided you want to get better, and
Yeah.
it's a real cellular decision,
Mm-hmm.
actually don't need anybody's help.
Yeah.
But also only then it will work.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so hard, why people are suffering so much, is because they're getting help because they're told they should be.
Yeah.
They're told they should snap out of it. They're told they should be working with an expert. They're told. So as long as you're following the should methodology,
Mm-hmm.
yes, some of them get better, but it takes so long and it's so hard and it's a miserable journey for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
No. I agree with you that there's a lot of benefits for people staying in that space, though, because I have a lot of people around me that, well, number one, I think that they don't like to be around me because I'm so positive and my energy is so like full. My mom was telling my brother the other day, like, "Oh, Deanna walks in the room and she just brings up the energy of the room," and I love that about myself, but a lot of people that that I know that if I come around them, they don't like that. They feel intimidated by that because they're happy in their misery. That serves them. They're comfortable there. And I personally, I have zero compassion because you have a choice. You might have compassion, Elle, and I appreciate that. We need people like you, but I do not have any because you're making that choice to be miserable.
I think that it's an important understanding here that what compassion is I have empathy for where they're at, but I'm not willing to play with them in that space.
Okay.
You have empathy. So compassion is you have empathy, but you hold the truth.
Okay. Yeah.
There's
Okay.
a difference. I'm not feeling sorry for them.
Right.
And I'm not, and that's why I don't work with people who want to stay there, because compassion is no. If you come into my space, I will have empathy for you, but I will hold the truth.
Yes.
I will not bow down to meet you where you're at. And I think this is something that is critical at this time. We have very much a bow down to help people approach to life. And I'm like, no, give them the opportunity to step up.
Yeah.
Give people the opportunity to step up. It's why I made the word rempowerment. I don't empower anybody. I will rempower you. I will stand in the truth of your greatness and give you the choice and the opportunity to step up to be your greatness. But I will not bow down to your mediocrity.
Yes.
That is compassion.
I love that. You gave me goosebumps. Now I can agree with that, and I can be on that same page with you because I've been there. I've been like where, depressed. I've had a lot of crap happen to me and I got through it. And I think when you go through something that's life-changing, it allows you to hopefully grow through that and see things completely different than of people that have not gone through it or refuse to acknowledge what they've been through and they want to stay in this woe is me place. So for me, like, life is way too short. Life is so beautiful. You're capable of so much. And we are not promised tomorrow. And so why would you want to live in a place that doesn't serve you when you don't know what tomorrow brings? Like, I want to wake up every day with an intention and be happy and be peaceful and be joyful. And anything that tries to steal that from me, I like you, I do not want it in my space. I cannot be around it. And so I know people in my life that are stuck in this miserable spot. And it's like, I can't, I had questioned one of them and they got very upset with me. And I was like, I was like, okay. And it was just about like, if you're so unhappy, what are you going to do about it? Not like trying to be confrontational, but like, you have a choice. Why do you want to stay in this space? What are you going to do about it?
Because it's so hard. Because you just don't understand. I've tried everything. And I'm like, well, stop trying, bitch, and do. Like, at the end of the day, like once you've made that decision, there is an inner strength that comes with that.
Oh, yes.
There's an inner strength that comes with that. And when that inner strength is who you really are, your work right now is to stay calibrated to your strength.
Yeah.
Stay calibrated to your strength. That's the work that I do with women, is how to calibrate to your evolved strength, your evolved wisdom, your evolved power, your evolved creativity. That is the work that needs to be done at the moment. And that is not done through feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Like that era is coming to an end. But decision has to be made. And then it's a case of self-disciplining your thoughts every single day. And yes, have a sense of humor about it. Every now and again, I fall off the wagon and I go, oh, that's interesting, Elle. Ha ha, look at you being such a dork right now. Look at what you're thinking. Do you seriously want to create this into your life? But if not, you've got to move ass, girlfriend. You've got to get back on track. But it's a self-discipline of every single day. It's a new opportunity to reset, to stay calibrated as long as possible. And you fall off and then go to sleep or go for a run or go do something else and come back tomorrow with a renewed resolve, a renewed decision that I'm going to stay calibrated for as long as possible. There's so many ancient things, and it's why I wrote the little book of Big Principles for Greatness, because it's ancient things like discipline and dedication and determination that people are lacking, and those are the winning ingredients for living a truly successful life. Not successful by standards of society, but successful in terms of you wake up in the morning, you're truly grateful, appreciative, and happy to be alive, and you have a life-gasmic day, and you go to bed and you feel fulfilled and satisfied and joyful and go, thank you, life, for another day. This was sensational. That to me is true success.
Life-gasmic. I love that.
Life-gasmic. Why were we not living life-gasmic every day?
I try to every day, damn it. Like,
yes. Of once you know who you choose to be, who you choose to be next in this world, once you know what the legacy is that you want to live, Life-gasmic is showing up in that every single day. You get to have an adventure every single day, big or small. You get to create something every single day, big or small. You get to make somebody smile every single day, whether it's a big smile or a small smile, whether it's a laugh or just a smile in the queue at the shopping.
Yeah.
You just say hello to somebody and make eye contact with them like a human being.
Yes.
And when you do those three things every single day feels like a win.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, we are already at the 20-minute mark. We're past the 20-minute mark. So we're going to start bringing it to a close. Talk to us about the Unapologetic Woman. I mean, I think that for people, the audience has kind of got that at this point, but tell us about your show and what that means and the things that you do around that mission that you have.
Yes. So the Unapologetic Woman podcast started on a whim. I just got an intuitive nudge. It's time to start a podcast. And I was like, I don't listen to podcasts. I have no idea what to do. And so I called a friend and I said, hey, do you want to be my guest on a podcast? And she's like, what are we going to talk about? And I said, I have no idea. Let's talk and see where it goes. And as I was writing, this is going to be a podcast, it was just the Unapologetic Woman. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
What is that? What is an unapologetic woman? Mm-hmm. And that is the show, is women coming together, unscripted. And I always say, do not come in your professional capacity, come in your beautiful self capacity. And what does it mean to you to be an unapologetic woman? And I have been blown away by the conversations that have unfolded through this. I have grown. I have changed my mind a gazillion times. I have transformed my own being, my own state of being. And so that then gave birth to the Unapologetic Woman magazine, which comes out quarterly. The next one is coming out this weekend. I'm really excited about that. It gave birth to the soiree, which is where women come together. It's a membership program. We come together every 2 weeks, and we just have rich conversation about whatever comes up. And what I have discovered is that so many women are either stuck in a networking, contractual, you give whatever paradigm, which is not fulfilling. Or they have forgotten how to have conversations with people who are like-hearted but not like-minded. And so that is really what the unapologetic is for, is taking a stand for. Women who are like-hearted but not like-minded. I think that there's a lack of interest and curiosity and appreciation of diversity in the world because everybody wants to surround themselves with like-minded people.
No.
I'm like, I don't want that.
No,
like,
me neither.
Let's actually start differing and having different opinions and different backgrounds and appreciation, and not try and convince each other, but really learn how to experience the world through the lens of another. Understanding it doesn't have to impact or influence us.
Right.
That is why people are so scared of diversity, is because they think that they would either have to convince somebody else or be convinced by them, instead of going, oh no, this is a really big world, people. We can all have different opinions. It's all good.
I love diversity. I love surrounding myself with diverse people. I mean, I love it. I think it's a beautiful thing, and it allows you to be cultured depending on the people that you surround yourself with, and you get to hear other points of views. And so I love that. I love that that's your mission. Now, with the Unapologetic Women, does that go in hand with your being a self-leadership practitioner, or is that something completely separate?
No, so Unapologetic Women has turned into the empire that we are creating. And so the self-leadership is just working privately with me and curating beautiful experiences for women in whatever capacity they want, because it is about them calibrating to their most unapologetic self. What I'm coming to understand is that the unapologetic woman is a modern archetype, which we are actually busy creating, all of us, in consciousness right now. Because God knows we've apologized for long enough for being women. And we have fought that. We've fought being a woman for such a long time. So we are all right now co-creating an archetype that will be the unapologetic woman, and whatever that really stands for.
That's beautiful and very powerful. I like that. I like that statement. Can you give us an example of someone that came to you that started working with you? Maybe like what it looked like in the beginning and what it ended up like for them?
I had I love it when people come to me thinking that they're going to work on something. I had a lady who came to work with me specifically with regards to her professional self. So she was in a really high-powered position. She was just about to apply for a position that has not ever been given to a woman before. She wanted support in that. And so, well, needless to say, she got the position. But what we discovered was her profession, like for a lot of high-achieving women, was an escape from not facing the reality of all the desires that she was denying within herself. Part of those desires was, a ridiculous house that she wanted, which everybody was like, that is too ostentatious, and who do you think you are? Part of that desire was romance, deep, loving partnership with somebody. And I remember having a conversation with her, and she burst into tears after screaming. And she was like, I'm doing everything that they have told me to do. I've got the letter. It's under my pillow. I'm writing. I am affirming. I am visualizing. And I said to her, and look at who you are being right now. You're being the woman without the romance. And I'm delighted to say that within 6 months, she was in her new position, in her new house with her partner. And it happens like this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
it all happens simultaneously when we calibrate to who we are as the woman who has it all. And I want to state this as well. When I say who has it all, I am talking about your specific desires, because a lot of the times when we say you have to be it all and have it all and do it all, women go, but I'm already exhausted. I don't even want to think, because it's not their desires.
Right. Yeah.
There's very few women who are taking the time to get super clear on the picture, holistic picture of what desire looks like, what that feels like, what's that vibration, how does it pulsate. And once you just get that, you have to get out of your head, because everything in your head is what we are being taught in the masculine of how to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
Not how we create, ladies.
No, not at all.
Once you stop doing that and you surrender and you just be the woman, everything falls into place and everything comes to you. So it can be that easy.
Woo! With that being said, Elle, where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more?
I think the best place is on Instagram. I love playing on Instagram. I do poetry all the time on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. You can email me, unapologeticinitiative@gmail.com. I'm always available for a conversation. Book a consultation, for God's sakes, and come and have a conversation with me. I'm not about information, about transformational conversations. And unless we have a conversation, nothing shifts in your life.
That's right. You guys, I'm going to put those links in the show notes. So do not hesitate to reach out to Elle if you aligned with her message today, which I'm sure a lot of you have. So I'll put those links there. You go click those links and enjoy your conversation with her. This is the part of the show where I'd like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
You are magnificence in human form. Everything else is the illusion.
Ooh. Wow, that's it? That's powerful. Woo-hoo! Woo, I hear a mic drop. Drop it. That was awesome. Elle, it has been such a pleasure as usual. I love connecting with you so much, and this has been so much fun. So I look forward to many conversations with you, and I'm sure my audience is going to absolutely love it.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.